just the way doctors are.
Right.
Even, oh, give her this medication.
I mean,
give her this.
I feel like they're just trying to do it as convenient as possible for you. You know what I mean? Like
what they know.
That's the sad part.
And that's how they're trained.
Well, exactly, and that's the kind of the sad part is that like, there's dying people are seen as an inconvenience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or they could be in less pain.
Yeah.
I mean, they give you a pill, but then it causes 3 other problems.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
like those commercials, like you won't have allergies, but you'll have explosive diarrhea and be bleeding.
Right. I was just
anus.
gonna say I'd rather just sniffle a little than
Like I don't understand these commercials, and then they tell you give the try this whatever it's called, and then the side effects comes after. Like
Worse,
what is the point of me taking this when there's
like
a chance
all
I'm
I
gonna
had
feel
was
that
sweaty
way.
palms before. Like
I'll deal with the sweaty palms.
Right.
Yeah.
Bleeding from my asshole and possible death. I don't think so. Right?
I'll just sleep it off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you said photography. I wanted to ask you, how did you start photography?
In general, I've just always my father when I was younger, he was big into photography. He was a Nikon guy, which is why I'm a Nikon guy. I feel like it's passed down. You know, like they're so similar now that you're brand loyal because of something other than
brand loyal to Canon.
It's I figure.
That's what's recording me right now is Canon. Even the lens is Canon.
Lovely.
Shout out to Canon.
Yeah. We're not sponsored by them.
Right.
Yet. Hopefully.
Not yet.
Canon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we all have something like that, like that's passed down from generation to generation. You probably picked it up pretty easily then.
I like to think I have a good eye for it. Yeah. I haven't. I mean, like I said, most of my education is self-taught. So like, I wouldn't even know how to gauge it against something else. But I think I do a pretty good job. Most people who have seen my work, they think they like it. So unless they're just patronizing.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I'm not going to dig too deep into that.
There you go. Well, they say if one person calls you a horse, ignore it. If 5 call you a horse, you better go buy a saddle, right?
Well, that's one of the reasons we actually connected too. While we were at work together, we talk about photography. When you love something, it's just so like sometimes when you attract people who loves the same thing, it's nice. It makes going to work, the 9-to-5 job, easier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I've always knew you were up to something bigger though.
Oh really?
Yeah.
How's that?
Because we talk about it.
Oh.
Magazine and now this.
Yeah. So initially, the plan was to start a magazine. Okay. I had a cool name and everything. It was called Fire Tree Magazine.
It's nice.
Somebody told me it was lame, but I don't believe it.
Yeah, don't listen to the haters. There's always going to be haters.
Right. And we were just going to do like the cream of the crop shots. Like we were just going to do like some, my goal was to like work with like local SF farms, like that were putting out the best of the best because there was no reason to go anywhere else than here. We grow the best pot in the world, period, hands down. Like stop right there.
San Francisco.
Like, absolutely.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, when we were going to move from Austin originally, we had 2 choices. We were going to go either to Denver or to here. Okay. The reason why we liked Denver so much was Denver is like the major city for most EDM. So most electronic dance music.
Yeah. Okay.
So most of the big like EDM DJs live in or around Denver.
Okay.
So being that I'm also a DJ, I thought that it would be advantageous to move into that area because I wanted to be around other artists.
Yeah.
And, there's just a feel that you get with the
I
camaraderie
agree.
from that. So, so we were stoked. We were pretty set on moving there. We'd gone there a couple times. We liked it a lot. But then again, my friend Christina asked us to come out and visit San Francisco, and we got to visit out here, and we were just sold. We loved it out here.
Yeah. Shout out to Christina because I met you last year because of that.
Yeah, actually the Bay Area in San Francisco is big for DJs and electronic music as well.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, when I was growing up, I don't know if it's changed over the years, but I remember in the 90s, San Jose, San Francisco was all DJs. Like all my friends growing up were DJs. I was the only one that wasn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
I put a track on beat for like maybe 5 minutes, and then I train tracked, and that was the end of my DJ career, right? But yeah, so you're a DJ.
Yeah.
Yes. So
it used to be a long time. Now, this is before the internet. This was again. I'm 42, so I started DJing in Mexico a long time ago.
Wow.
In Matamoros, in Progreso, sometimes at Reynosa, depending on like what club would take me on at the time.
Yeah, the crazy thing about Mexico is like it doesn't even matter how old you are, as long as you're old enough to like order a drink.
Tall to ride.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. As long as you can get in and get yourself there, like you can drink, you can be in the clubs. It does everything goes in Mexico, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
so it must have been pretty fun back in those days.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that was one of the benefits of being in the Rio Grande Valley was that every year spring break came, and you'd get college kids from all over Texas that would come down to go to Mexico, get shit faced. It was a lot of fun. So
yeah, I remember that. I got shit faced for the first time in Mexico. It was Rosarito, Senor Frogs.
I can't wait to go to Rosarito. I haven't been to Baja California yet. I've only been to right over the border in Texas. So
yeah, you should go. I mean, Mexico's already open, so everyone when they're traveling, they're going to Cancun, Tulum, all that. Yeah, but so you used to be a DJ.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but you were a real DJ then, because you had to do vinyl back
That's right,
then.
vinyl. That's right. I had two 1210 SK5s. They were Techniques. So. And I only played vinyl. What I started to do later on is I started to do a live production show.
Okay.
So essentially what I would do is I would have my control board, and in my control board I would run like a synthesizer and a drum machine.
Oh, okay.
So I would just create a beat, and then I would create like a sample, and then I would just run it on a loop, and then I would mix a record into that.
Oh wow.
And go vice versa.
That's cool.
So it's live production mixed with some actual just vinyl to vinyl.
So you're actually a truly talented music creator.
I like
producer.
to think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, well, first of all, if you can DJ with vinyl, you're a real DJ.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
Yeah, because it's funny because my friends are still. I have.
They press that magic button.
Yeah, no, but they're still DJs from the old school,
now,
but they still have the setup now. So I was at my friend's house the other day. I'm like, "Can you teach me to DJ?" He's like, "Sure." So it's so easy now. I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, the real DJs must hate.
Which is why I got out of it.
Yeah,
honestly,
they must. They must hate the DJs now because I was putting tracks on beat.
Oh yeah.
After about a little 10-minute explanation, like, so the thing I didn't get was I didn't know where the song broke, where it started. I was just trying to put it on beat, right? So I got a few songs on beat, but it just kind of sounded horrible because like you got to know the song.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? But nowadays, like anybody can be a DJ. You just have to know but it's knowing the songs and knowing how to put them together.
Yeah, it's even easier now because if you look at some of the software they have, they've got it to where you can actually see the breakdown. You see where like the beat will break. Wow. You'll see where there's like a translucent or just like a trancey kind of like middle part or sample.
Yeah.
And that's just where you put it in there because there's no beat to mix essentially. You know, only thing you need to make sure at that point is that you have the same beat per minute. So and that does it for you automatically when you hit the blend button. So
yeah. Do you know what we're talking about?
The blend button. No. I mean, whenever I'm around my DJ friends, I'm taking photos for them. I'm always looking at them like, this is like a different world for me, different dimension, really. But I do love taking photos of them. Yeah, that's about
awesome.
it.
And not to take anything against any DJs now. I mean, if that's what you grew up with and that's the era you started in, then more power to you. But if you're a DJ from back in the day, I understand. Like, I'm like, okay, for me to try to put 2 vinyl records on beat, takes some skill.
Yes.
You know? For me to match up the BPM and to choose the song in your computer and to just make sure I just adjust the volume and make sure that's not that difficult. Correct. You know what I mean?
Well, you nailed it though. You said skill because that's really the difference between DJs then and now. Yeah. Is you had to be very skilled before, whereas now you have to be very creative.
Yeah, but I guess there's still a need for talent because if you're not creative, I mean, anybody can put 2 songs together, but you're creating an experience when you put them the right way.
Right.
You know what I mean? But anyways, I love DJing. I love music, period. My father was a singer. I didn't get the singing talent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I am going to end up getting, what's that unit thing called again? You mentioned it. It's called a
control board?
A control board. Yeah. I'm going to buy one of those. The little cheap $1,000 one because I don't need this fancy whatever, and I'm gonna start practicing because I have friends who are DJs, and because I just love music and
following your bliss.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you have a preference yet on which program you're gonna use, either Serato, Trackster, or Rekordbox? I'm
gonna use whatever. I think Serato.
Serato is what I would recommend, which is why I was asking.
Yeah, because that's what my friend told me. He said Serato is
it's the industry standard.
Okay.
The other Rekordbox is actually made by Pioneer, which is why that one got pushed real hard. And then Trackster, what people like about Trackster is you can do a little bit more of the live production stuff.
Okay.
But Serato is definitely better if your goal is to mix tracks together and do it in a creative way. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to do Serato. That's what my friend has, and I was just practicing with that. Cool. But yeah, so, I mean, that's going to be a hobby, I guess. But, I mean, if I could, just learn to put some music. Because I do have an ear. Because I'm an artist myself. Right. I was drawing was my talent, but I was always creative. And I grew up with the electronic music. And I just love, like, like knowing I can tell, I can count the bars because that's what my DJ friends taught me. So when I listen to songs, I'm not just listening, I'm listening to the bars. I'm like, and I'm like, oh, this is when the beat's gonna kick in. So I can tell when the beat's gonna kick in, when it's gonna go out, and all that kind of stuff. But I would just love to have that as like a skill or like a talent, or just to enjoy music.
Start with house music. It's real easy.
It's
you got a 4x4 beat. You'll love it.
Yeah,
you'll be able to. This is so easy.
I know, seriously.
You can build on top of that. Oh yeah,
definitely.
Basically.
It helps you build your confidence.
Nice.
Once you get it, he's gonna be dancing up there.
Yeah. Bliss seekers, right? Follow your bliss, right?
Right.
But anyways, let's get back to this. So your company again, right? So you want to try to make it DIY.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So talk about that a little bit.
One of the aspects of the company is that we want to make products that people will be able to grow cannabis themselves.
Okay.
Obviously, this is going to be centered on just home grows, nothing large scale. Right. We're not trying, and the only places that we're going to be selling the products are going to be where you can legally grow cannabis up to 6 plants, that kind of thing. So,
gotcha.
We've got other products in mind, but the first one that we want to get out in the DIY market is definitely a smart pot, something that'll help them, just take care of their cannabis and get to the best quality and yield that they can get to with the least amount of effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like, they say if you want a successful business, you got to find a problem and create the solution.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And it's all about timing as well too. Right now is the best timing because. With the Biden administration, with the legalization of, cannabis, and it's probably going to become federally legal soon.
Correct.
And big businesses getting involved. But it's not just about being the next grower or producer or whatever. It's about a new idea to an old industry, right? And I think that's kind of where you guys are at.
Exactly.
And it's funny because you took your experience and then you came to the tech world and you started meeting these engineers or, your friend who was all about AI and all that, and you're like, hey, let's merge two worlds.
Exactly.
Let's merge tech and let's merge cannabis and let's create a solution.
And this is while you guys are smoking the joint.
Exactly. That's the glue that binds us together.
Exactly. And the medicine was like with you guys throughout this, so it's awesome. I feel like this is the future. I mean, it's already happening right now, but carry on to the future. Yeah,
you're right. And it is about timing. And I think that before it wasn't the right time because there was just too many negative connotations when it came to cannabis. But I think that over the last few years, really Colorado, California have done a very good job of making it not such a bad thing anymore. People don't see it as the boogeyman anymore. They're seeing it as the medicine that it is in a lot of cases. And that was what was necessary, for the social change, for the social, for people to just be okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you understand the history of it, it was always a very useful and successful product. And paper was made from hemp. Sails used to be made from hemp. Like, it's faster to grow. It's easier to use. It's stronger. It's more durable. Yeah. It was also a medicine for a long, long time. It just, a couple wealthy men came along, John D. Rockefeller and, William Hearst. They decided that hemp needs to go away because it was going to hurt their businesses. And this was around the 30s when the Great Depression was happening and their businesses were suffering. So they said, hey, how do we make it work? Well, let's demonize cannabis, right?
Which is funny because the smarter move would have been to make industry out of it.
Yeah.
True, right.
There's so many uses for hemp that it's unbelievable that they went the other direction, honestly. Yeah. Like you would, I mean, being somebody, especially with the means that those two people had at the time, you would have thought, let's just corner the market. Let's just lobby and make it so that it's not illegal. Right. But I think you're right.
Yeah, they lobbied and made it illegal. That's what they did.
I think
they made it legal. Yeah, illegal.
Yeah. I think they also fear that plant medicine heals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another big thing.
Pharmaceutical is huge.
Like Chris Rock says, there ain't no money in the cure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We are here. We're out here. Plant medicine works. So
yeah, it's funny too. The term marijuana, they stole it from the Mexicans, Pancho Villa, La Cucaracha, right? And Hearst was a racist, like extreme racist, and he hated Pancho Villa even more because Pancho Villa and his group, they stole 300,000 acres of lumber from him.
Oh wow.
And that's why he was against them. And so they took the word marijuana, they said, oh, it's gonna cause your kids to go crazy, and it's a gateway
Demonized,
drug,
yeah.
and da da da. And then he had one of his cousins go into office, like you said, they got political. They passed the Marijuana Tax Act, and 80 years later, it's completely demonized. And now we have the opioid epidemic because of it. We have plastic industry because of it. We have the oil industry because of it. And magazines, because he was a magazine magnate, right? And paper, magazines, right? But like you said, what if he just made his magazine from hemp? It would have been a lot easier, right? But anyways, so you guys are trying to basically make the industry more DIY. You want to have quality, right?
Correct.
And you also want to help the environment, which
Correct.
is pretty awesome, right? And I didn't know, but I learned this from you, that San Francisco is the best place in the world to grow. That we grow the best.
Yeah, the Bay Area has the best climate for outdoor cannabis.
Outdoor.
But the reason why they have the best cannabis in general in the world is because the cultivators, the culture that's been created here and fermented here is why the Bay Area has the premier growers and
the
cannabis.
culture that's been grown.
The culture of the culture, exactly. The homegrown,
the homegrown culture here.
Are you just talking about outdoor specifically, or
no,
in
all
too?
facets,
Okay.
like indoor as well. Even hash makers, some of the best in the world are in this Bay Area because of their direct, just proximity to this amount of cannabis. So it's just all relative, I feel like.
Wow, it makes me feel very proud to be from the Bay Area.
No, absolutely. It's just a little side story. One of my favorite cultivators is a guy named Sherbinski. He's pretty big. He did Sunset Sherbert. I read something somewhere that he actually came up with that strain in the same neighborhood that I currently live in. Which to me is awesome.
Wow,
that's
pretty cool.
like some close to Mecca shit.
Yeah.
For me. I'm like, you know what I mean?
Awesome.
I mean, I moved
to the Mecca.
Yeah, exactly. So like that kind of stuff and those little stories, I wouldn't be able to have or experience if I wasn't in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think you landed in the right place.
Me too.
But everything happens for a reason.
Right.
I don't think there's no coincidences in this world. There's no accidents, right? Like you attracted it. It was you were led to it, and like you said, your friend brought you here and then took off.
Yeah.
That's the perfect sign that she was here just to bring you guys to the Bay Area.
It was for a purpose.
I think it's alignment for real.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more about your company, like where you want to go with it.
Yeah. So right now we're extending into Texas because we're opening up a production plant. Once we get our hempcrete mix completely perfect.
Okay.
Like I said, we're still kind of in the planning stage, not planning stage, but like just we're trying to figure out the right mixture right now. R&D. Yeah, we're definitely doing some development down there. But the majority of my executive team is in Texas.
Okay.
Being that our first product is going to be produced or made there. So, and we felt like it was a good place to start because of its geographic location. We're close to Mexico, so if once international starts becoming a thing, we'll be ready to go that direction. But being in the center of the country is helpful when you're trying to ship stuff in both directions.
That's smart.
That's a good point. Texas is literally like right smack dab in the middle.
Exactly. So we thought that, and then again, I have a lot of history down in South Texas. I understand that the cost of living is very low. That the workforce is very ready.
Yeah.
It's also all of those things I think are going to give us a strategic advantage to anybody else in the market who's going to be trying to put something else out there. So
well, that's another kind of coincidental thing that's working in your favor. Is, now you know why you grew up in South Texas.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's more affordable and your company can grow faster, right? And so
it's like full circle too, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Joe. It's full circle. And are people going to be able to because I know I'm not too knowledgeable on the hemp and cannabis but I know there's different names, there's different flavors, there's different mixes and all that.
Right.
Are people going to be able to be creative with their personal grow?
Yeah, well, it's funny because one of the things that I learned being in the industry here is that strains are an imaginary made-up thing. That each one of the strains, you've got basic landrace strains that people know, and all of your current strains are all a variation of those landrace strains, various mixtures of those. It's more about the phenotypes is what they call them. So you basically, let's say for example, you have biscotti and you get a seed from that biscotti.
Okay.
because you grow that seed, it's not necessarily the same biscotti plant.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that determine what you get at the end result are the environmental, the soil, all those kinds of things. So you're never. It's really hard. It's actually harder to duplicate the same kind of strain than you'd think.
That's very interesting because, like, I mean, if you get a tomato seed and it's that certain tomato, you can grow that certain tomato, right?
Very true.
Of course, the environment does help, because some regions are better for certain fruits and vegetables. But you're saying that a cannabis seed will not necessarily always reproduce the same plant.
Well, it won't have the same characteristics every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like the percentage of the THC could be higher or lower,
percentage
right?
THC could be lower. Even the characteristics of the plant. Let's like say, for example, you have a plant that was exposed to cold temperatures for a long period of time. That'll cause the plant to change colors.
Wow.
So it'll go from green to purple. But that's a stress on the plant. Wow. A lot of times the plant will produce less flower because of that, because it's trying to repair itself from being cold the whole time. So
it's a very malleable plant.
Absolutely. And that's why region determines so much on the quality of the plant. And that's why Northern California in general is known for the best cannabis in general, because their outdoor flower is just unparalleled. You can't, there's nothing better. And that's because of the fact that you've got a good it's a good combination of the mixture of moisture and the fact that the temperature gets high and then drops very low at night. So it almost like it's flash freezing the cannabinoids inside of the plant, so that it makes it locks that taste in there.
Yeah. Can you explain to everyone real quick who doesn't know what Landrace strains are?
So Landrace strains are basically the few strains that were in existence naturally in the world. A couple of examples of those would be like you've got Acapulco Gold. Another one is Jamaican. There's Jamaican Landrace is lamb's bread.
Oh, I love lamb's bread. That's a sativa, by the way.
And then there's African landrace strains. There's just it depends on what region of the country.
So these are basically like the OGs.
Yeah,
correct.
I was gonna
OGs,
say the
exactly.
OGs. You read my mind.
Yeah. Hey, we're connected, right? Yeah. Is Acapulco Gold the one from like the Narcos story where that guy created this basically one that doesn't have seeds?
Exactly, Sensimilla. So
Sensimilla.
that was the original that's when they started to figure out. There was other strains of, like the Hindu. I think there were Hindu strains that they learned early to remove the seeds and. But that was one of the first mass-produced versions of a seedless plant, and and when they did that, they realized that the quality was just ridiculous. So
Sin Semilla, that was the one that's basically the big part of the whole Narcos Mexico story, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So what is it about it not having the seed that makes it better?
Well, what it is when the male plant doesn't have the chance to pollinate the female plant, it doesn't cause more seeds to be spread. So essentially what happens is a male plant will pollinate the female plant. The female plant it has flowers first. Right. Once the flowers become pollinated by the male plant, it starts to produce seeds. Okay. Once it starts to produce seeds, it starts to lose potency. So a lot of the THC and the CBD, all of the cannabinoids that you get from cannabis, they lose their potency because it starts to produce seeds.
So it's like the Virgin Mary, basically.
Right.
Has to immaculate
be a virgin. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's immaculate conception.
And it's funny you say that because that's how they are able to produce these same quality plants every time is mother plants.
Wow.
And
plants.
What they do is they take a phenotype, like a specific, like for example. That's why you hear about like Gelato 41, Gelato 45, Gelato 33. That's because that was the number that they assigned the seed from that gelato plant that they got the first time. They came out from there. That's the phenotype. Okay. So
gelato's the phenotype.
So gelato itself is a hybrid, but once they found that one plant and they decided to make seeds from that one plant, they took that plant and they each one of those seeds subsequently from that was a phenotype of that plant.
Okay, got it.
So,
okay.
Well, fun fact real quick. I once smoked a lamb's bread and went to the gym. And I felt like I was flying when I was running on a treadmill.
Oh, that's awesome.
When I was lifting, I was like, I don't feel anything.
That's the thing about Landrace sativas. They're very uplifting.
Yes.
So you'll get that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if I was ever to smoke, I guess it would be those uppers because I'm a very mellow person.
Gotcha.
So I never really got into weed or cannabis, not because I was against it or anything, but like I'm a mellow person. So any type of drug or thing that makes me more mellow is not good for me, right?
You didn't need any help relaxing.
I go from couch potato to melted into the couch and just unproductive, right? So I didn't like anything that made me unproductive, right? So do you guys have anything else in the works? Or right now is it just basically the one product that you guys are hempcrete?
Right now we're working on the hempcrete. We want to kind of focus everything on that so we can get it to market.
Which is smart. Master one and then move on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Once we nail that down and we've got a good flow going with that product, I think at that point we're going to start moving into the research of our homegrown products. Luckily, I got a little bit of time because it's not nationally. So I figure I got about a good year and a half to develop my product properly. But our goal is hopefully to get our first MVP, which is this hempcrete, out by the beginning of this year or beginning of next year, or the end of this year. We're not sure yet. So we're trying.
I can't wait till I see it on Amazon. I was like, he was on the podcast 2 years ago, and now I could order it on Amazon. Click. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, hey, I mean, it sounds like a great idea. Where do you see the company headed? Like, what's your vision for the company?
My vision for the company as a whole is to build these products, hemp products that are helpful for the environment, but also to build a good, like, stable of products that are for DIY grow, and that whether it be curing and drying, whether it be cloning and or germination. Anything that help the process as a whole be simpler. We're also involving a lot of social media. We're involving a lot of our. We actually make videos on how to roll a joint, just like different educational videos, things like that. So this to give some content to our website, so that when you go there and you buy products, you'll be able to see like, well, this is how you seed, this is how you clone, this is how you. So
that's very, very smart, because everyone's going to go there to.
Why have them leave when they don't have to? My site,
educational.
That's the point.
That's great.
I just had a weird vision where I see baby boomers using your products, because of pain.
Yeah.
Pain management. You know, like,
absolutely.
The baby boomers are probably the one generation that is the hardest, but also the one that probably needs it the most.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Which is the whole irony of everything, right?
My baby boomer mother actually just put in an order for some CBD rub for her knees or for she's for her back. Sorry, so she's. I understand the importance, and I think that they are going to start understanding the importance of and the benefit of having these cannabinoids available once they're legally,
just like grandmother loves to garden, but instead of gardening tomatoes and whatever, she's gardening her cannabis or hemp, so she can deal with her pain or help her knees or her arthritis or whatever, you know what I mean? And by the way, there's two different ways, right? There's a recreational and there's medicinal. And that's what people just, whenever they think of it, the demonized part, they think of the recreational.
Right.
And of course, there's nothing wrong with recreational, but that's where people are kind of more geared toward because they've been so blinded to the medicinal part of it.
Yeah.
And so your goal is to make it both medicinal, recreational. They're just able to grow their own.
I want to make it available. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I want to make it available, and it's up to the people to choose how they use that.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I think it's super cool that our Bay Area, my home, is probably the best, like you said, the number one best place to grow because of, again, it goes back to the weather. Why does everybody want to live in California? Why does everybody want, why is it so expensive? Well, it's like the weather, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a big thing with the weather, right?
Absolutely.
So anything else you want to talk about with your company real quick?
No, I mean, that's y'all given me a really good opportunity to kind of lay it out, without giving too much away.
That's another thing I do want to be careful because I know you're still in
we're still developing.
Right?
I
don't want someone to try to steal your ideas. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Strategic. I do want to ask you if you have any example of sharing something like when an experience you had when it comes to helping people with cannabis.
Well, I mean, I'd say that a lot of the times, one of the things that I would do is I help a lot of healthcare workers, especially doctors and like physicians' assistants, things like that, nurse practitioners. And they want to understand the dosing of cannabis, and they want to understand how it can be beneficial for their patients. And I think that that's amazing, that these people who spent years of their lives showing somebody else that they're worthy of their title, doctor, nurse, or whatever it might be, and to trust me enough to come in there and ask me, it touches you because you're just like, I've gotten good at what I do, and it's nice to be appreciated. Those people like that, that's the ultimate validation for me. If the people like that come in there and ask me these questions.
That's awesome. And because, you know, with the medical professionals, they're only taught one thing, one way. And now that a lot more people are opening up to alternative medicine, it will help a lot more people.
Well, I like that they're adjusting to that, though.
Yeah,
that they're like, you know, if it's going to help people, then I'm going to get into it as well.
Yeah.
You know, in the true essence of a doctor, you don't become a doctor if you don't really like to help people.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know there's money involved, but nurses especially, they work so hard.
Yeah.
You know, they do all the work pretty much. Doctor comes in, you know, does one thing and leaves, right? But if you truly are in the medical field, you went in thinking you're there to help, right? But then eventually it just became medicate everybody and treat them, you know? But now I think that's very powerful that actually they're reaching out to you now or to the industry and saying, hey, we understand this helps. Like, can you teach us how we can help? Because, you know, if you become a doctor or nurse, you want to help people, right?
Right.
And you realize now that the whole industry is not really about help. It's about money. It's about keeping people on meds. Like I said, there ain't no money in the cure. But I think that's pretty awesome that they're reaching out to you. You guys are going to kind of become like the unsung heroes of health. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, instead of like being chastised or cast away or being put in jail for things, you know, now it's going to be like, wow, you guys are the ones leading the way to help and treat, actually cure people, which is, I think, is amazing.
I think it also goes back to nature.
Yeah.
Like nature has been here before we were born.
Very true.
And nature heals as well, and cannabis is one of them.
Yeah, it's not a chemical. It's grown naturally.
Yeah.
I know they've juiced it up. They've pimped it out, you know, where it can do some pretty crazy things, but in the end, it's a plant.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, I have a real quick experience. Like my dog, she lived to 17 and a half years. She just passed away, but she got kidney failure about 2 years ago. And I started giving her CBD oil, and that was like a lifesaver for her.
Really?
Like, she ate more.
Wow.
She was like springy. Like, it was like weird. Like, they called her the miracle dog. I switched her to a Whole Foods diet and gave her CBD. I didn't put her on all the meds they wanted me to put her on. And she lived for 2 years after kidney.
Okay. So, yeah, that's the thing about CBD is that what I usually try to tell the people that I work with is that CBD, if anything, it provides you a bit of relief in a situation where you normally can't get it.
Right.
So people who just achy all the time and just want a little bit of something else, that's literally what it's done.
Yeah. Like my dog, she was 17 and a half years old. That's like 106 in dog years.
Wow.
You know? And until the end, like, she was doing great until the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
But imagine, like, 17 and a half years old, 2 years with kidney failure.
Wow.
And all she needed to do was get her fluids twice a week. Everything else was good diet and CBD oil.
Wow.
I didn't give her no meds, no pain this, no and that's just the way doctors are.
Right.
Even, give her this medication.
I mean,
give her this.
I feel like they're just trying to do it as convenient as possible for you. You know what I mean?
With
Like,
what
that's,
they know.
that's the sad part.
And that's how they're trained.
Well, exactly. And that's the kind of the sad part is that, like, there's dying people are seen as an inconvenience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or they could be in less pain.
Yeah.
I mean, they give you a pill, but then it causes 3 other problems.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
like those commercials, like, you won't have allergies, but you have explosive diarrhea and be bleeding.
Right. I was just
going
going to say, I'd rather just sniffle a little than,
Yeah, like, I don't understand these commercials. And then they tell you, give the, try this, whatever it's called. And then the side effects comes after. Like,
Worse,
what is the point of me taking this when, there's
like
a chance?
All I had was sweaty palms before. Like,
I'll deal with the sweaty palms.
Right.
Yeah.
Bleeding from my asshole and possible death? I don't think so. Right?
I'll just sleep it off.
Exactly. Exactly.
And, you know, I've been on a spiritual journey the last few years of my life. I know, Joe, and shout out to Hatem. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Hatem. So everybody say happy birthday, Hatem, right? And I think a lot of the spirituality has led me to holistic stuff. You know,
Okay.
like my mom has this acupuncture guy. So I had back pain for 15 years, like a lot of car accidents. I felt like I was an old man. I was waking up in pain every single day. He makes these little herbal teas. My pain is gone in 2 months.
Wow.
After 15 years of like chronic pain.
Jesus.
And it's just herbs. And I'm like, wait a minute. So that sparked something in me. He cured my mom of really bad anemia. Like, he's cured some people with just herbs. And so I'm like, okay, like there's something going on here. Like, how could I go to like acupuncture, chiropractors, all these adjustments? And the thing about adjustments is like they're cool, but they don't last because your muscles are still all jacked up.
Exactly.
Your nerves are still all jacked up. So you'll feel fine for a couple of days, and then you go right back to where you were because you got the root is not fixed, right? So after that, I was like, okay, I need to start learning more about holistic, more about different things. Like, you know, I never was really big on medicine. Latinos, you know, we're like, we don't even go to the doctor until like
a little tussin on it.
Yeah, Robitussin or some Vicks, right?
Yeah.
Some Vicks vapor rub. We don't go to the doctor until like our arms not working anymore. Okay, maybe I should go to the doctor now. My arm's not functioning, right? But anyway, so I'm more about holistic, right?
Well, I want to, since you brought that up, a few years ago, I remember I came into work. I was working in the wine industry. And then I was really sore, right? I was working in the office, nothing to do. So I went to the warehouse. I was like, oh, let me help. And then pick up the box and kind of like, I heard something in my back. Yeah. So I went back in the office. I actually bent down to grab my charger and I felt like I pulled something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I smoked so much weed that weekend because it was so painful. And I did acupuncture, acupressure, and body work.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's like basically what my friend did is massage all the pain out. Mm-hmm. Within like less than a week, I was cured basically.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's awesome.
Because of that, smoking weed and combination other things, I was able to work, like start my new job.
Well,
like
cannabis is
later.
an anti-inflammatory, so that probably helped.
Yeah.
You know, with the pain and the inflammation. So.
You know, inflammation is where all the chronic illness comes from in our bodies. Yep. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, get rid of the inflammation. You can either do it like with a pill that's going to give you other issues, or you can do it naturally.
I guarantee I would be in worse shape if not for cannabis. I guarantee. I guarantee it because of how bad I was and still am sometimes to my body. I'm 100% sure.
It's keeping me going.
It's keeping me going.
Thank you, cannabis.
Like me and Willie Nelson are the two.
What?
You're like, thank you for letting me just live a good life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So cannabis is awesome. Mm-hmm. Like I love the. I mean, I'm a recreational smoker before. I haven't smoked in a while, but I love CBD right now. It helps me go to sleep as well. So
yeah, like I don't take aspirin or anything for pain. I'll just take CBD. Yeah. I mean, I just saw how it changed my dog's life. I mean, if it works for dogs, it's going to work for us.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
I mean? Yeah, I mean, what we always finish off every podcast is our famous segment called Joe's 6 Qs.
Okay.
So Joe's about to ask you. Yeah, it's famous. It's like world famous. By the way, if you guys like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to smash that like button and hit that notification bell. But anyways, we're going to go right over to Joe. I'm going to hand it over to her. She's going to ask you some really deep questions, and then we'll close it out.
Sounds good.
Let's see how deep it is. How deep it gets. So do you have any advice for anyone who wants to try cannabis, but like where to get educated, you know what I'm saying? Because again, it's been demonized for so many years.
Right. First thing I'd say is don't trust a friend. I remember the first time. I remember the first time I tried dab. It was out of a 6-foot glass bong in Texas because they thought it'd be funny to see how that went. Mm-hmm. So always do your own research. I'd like to say, but definitely trust your bud tenders. Like and be comfortable with the person you're buying it with. If you don't feel like the bud tender you're talking to is giving you the kind of attention that you want, ask for somebody else.
Yeah.
I think people a lot of the times they get stuck in the normal retailness of cannabis right now because it is the way it is. But these people are there. They're supposed to be there to help you. And if you have questions, they shouldn't be there to make you feel like you are inferior because you don't know exactly as much as they do. So, you know, don't be afraid to ask somebody else, honestly.
Nice.
But so get multiple opinions.
Nice.
I like that. Don't go to your homie.
Don't trust your friend.
He'll be like, "Oh, I got you. Don't worry about it. Come over here. I got the special thing for you."
They mean well, but not really.
They want to see you super high. What does following your bliss looks like for you this year?
Just believing in myself 100%. I stopped. This last year has been all about not putting roadblocks in front of me.
Yeah.
I feel like it took a long time to get to the point where I finally understood that we are the only people who create our roadblocks and we're the only people who can remove them. So,
100%.
So that's been my focus.
Nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a quote that says, "You are the problem, but the best part about that is you're also the solution."
Yeah.
You got it, man. Don't ever doubt yourself. I meet a lot of people, and I think you have something special here. So
I appreciate that.
Keep going. Just keep going.
Thanks.
There's going to be a lot of haters, a lot of adversity, but just keep going.
If there's a lot of haters, you know you're doing something right.
Exactly, right?
Exactly.
That's the only time you don't have haters. Don't do nothing with your life. And guess what? Nobody will bother you.
Nobody will hate you.
They don't even know you exist.
Right.
You know. Okay, so it's gonna get deep. Okay.
Nope.
Okay, when you hear the word purpose, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh, that is real deep. That's gonna be my daughter. Yeah.
Wow, it's beautiful.
How old is your daughter?
She's 14.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Teenager.
She doesn't think I know how old she is. We got into an argument the other day, and she said, "I'm not 16," and I'm like, "I didn't say you were." But yeah, but I love her,
that.
and yeah, she's definitely a driving force.
That's
Thank you for
awesome.
sharing. Yeah.
It's your why.
Her name's Tegan, by the way.
Tegan.
She's awesome.
Shout out to Tegan.
Shout out to you. So how would you like to be remembered?
I would love to be remembered as somebody who took a chance and made a change, a positive change in a way that people just really understood, like cannabis. And like I said, it's gotten so bad now that they had to come up with a different term, i.e. hemp, just to get people to be okay with like industrial hemp. Because I mean, hemp, like I said, is just a designation of cannabis. It's all cannabis. It's just depends on how much THC you've got in it. You know, that's really what decides that. So, yeah.
Nice.
Positive change.
Positive
For
change.
sure. So if you were told you had 48 hours left to live, what is the first and last thing you would do?
Oh, yeah, probably the first would be the last thing.
What's the
if I
first thing?
told me that, let me see. If I was told I had 48 hours to live, obviously I'd get together with my family, and spend as much time with them as I could, and then I mean, probably just, that's a tough one, you know. I'd go to a club. I'd be around music.
Yeah.
I wouldn't waste the last time I had to not experience something new.
Yeah.
Something new.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Follow your bliss.
Exactly. Okay, one last question. What is your number one wish for the world?
Just serenity in general. Everybody to be happy with what they're doing.
Nice. I haven't heard that word in a while. Thank you for reminding me.
Serenity.
It's beautiful. That's about it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, any last words, Joe?
I just want to say thank you for being here and
Absolutely.
accepting that invitation. I knew you were out to do something awesome, and I'm glad that we're still connected. Even we met at the cannabis industry, and
cool peeps are cool peeps. They can't help that,
I always had good vibes with you, and I'm excited to collaborate with you and do some photos as well. And
absolutely,
I'm here to support you as well with your business. So,
I appreciate that. Joe.
Yeah, thank you for coming down.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's been fun. It's been a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Not that I didn't think it would be. Just I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
Don't worry
all
about
good.
it. Everybody
It's chill.
is.
I tell everybody it's not live. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's edited, and we could always,
And it's your
just
story.
chilling.
Nobody else knows your story better than you.
Yeah.
That's very
You know what I
true.
mean?
And I think also as a human being, we all love to talk about ourselves and share our story. It's actually healing and liberating. So it's just me. I'm just giving you a platform to do that.
And I very much appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and thank you again for being on the show. You're awesome. I learned a lot,
Yep.
and we'll definitely have you back on once everything gets launched.
Yeah.
Right.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime, guys.
And then again, if you guys like this episode, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and hit the notification bell. Everything for him we will leave down in the description below. So click on that.
Hey, do you have any last words?
Never stop smoking. I don't know. You kind of put me on the spot there.
As
Never
always-
stop smoking weed. All right.
As always, never stop smoking.
Okay. I just wanted to ask you. Okay.
All right. Thank you for that. So
No
anyways,
worries.
as always,
Follow your bliss.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Our goal, as always, is to become the #1 podcast in the world. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And make sure you share this with 3 of your friends. And if you like our song, our intro song, please check out my good friend Maroni Silva's band, A Dead Desire, on YouTube. That song is called The Mantra. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. And as always, follow your bliss.